Hey Math 7 guys, today we are learning about surface area of cylinders. Please make sure that you title your notes. Lesson 6.3, surface area of cylinders. Our checklist for today is I can find a circumference of a circle, find area of a circle, write the formula for cylinders, and find the surface area of cylinders. When I look at this list here, finding circumference is what we did yesterday in 6.2b. Finding area of circles is what we did in our Chapter 6 opener. So really the only new thing we're learning today is formula for surface area and finding surface area. We're really going to be using those steps of did you show formula, did you substitute, did you solve, and did you label today. And really, you're just getting a new formula. The rest we've been doing. So let's go ahead and recall some things we know about circles. Remember that the radius of a circle is from the center of a circle to the outer edge. We reviewed that yesterday. The diameter is the number that is all the way across, the distance across a circle. We also reviewed our formulas for circumference. We have two different formulas, and you can pick which one you'd like to use. And we reviewed our formula for area. Both of them have different formulas. You have to make sure that you're writing those out. Let's go ahead and warm up your brain by finding the circumference and area of each circle. So there's two problems. I want you to do both. And there's actually really two problems in each. So again, you're finding the circumference and the area of each circle here. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the correct answer for these. Right. As you can see, for each question, I showed my formula, I substituted, I solved, and I labeled my final answer. At this point, area and circumference, you guys should have down pat. So let's go ahead and review drawing a net of a cylinder. Remember that nets are unfolded 3D shapes. So what would a cylinder look like if I cut it up and unfolded it into one big shape? We'll pause the video while you draw. Remember that the net has two circles and one rectangle that kind of rolls up into our cylinder. How would you find the area of the bases? Remember that our bases are the two circles, one on top, one on bottom, of our cylinders. How would you find that area? Well, the area of one circle we know is pi r squared. So we could just find the area of both circles and add them together. Or we could just times our answer by 2. So 2 times pi times radius squared. Go ahead and take a moment to find the area of these two circles. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the answer to your bases area. All right, so our final answer then is 157 centimeters squared for our two circles. How would we find the area of the lateral face? So remember we talked about how the lateral face is really a rectangle that's rolled up into a circle. Well, we know that the area of a rectangle is base times height. Well, the height of our rectangle is here. It's 10. The height of our rectangle is 10. What about the base of our rectangle? That part isn't there. Well, remember that we take our rectangle and we roll it up into a circle. So that rectangle really becomes a circle, that bottom part there. Well, how do I find the outer edge of that circle? Because that's really what my length is. Circumference. to find the outer edge of a circle, we really are looking for that circumference. And remember that circumference is pi times diameter. So to find my base here, I really am doing pi times diameter. So I'm going to rewrite my formula. The base is pi times diameter, and then we can times by my height. So the area of that cylinder, of the lateral face, we can find by doing pi times diameter times height. Or, remember, circumference can also be found by saying 2 times pi times radius. So another way to write that is 2 times pi times radius times height. Instead of the height symbol, I'm just going to write height next to it because we know that that means multiplication as well. So again, to find that rectangle, we do 2 times pi times radius times height. Let's go ahead and find the area of our lateral face here by using our lateral face formula. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the answer to our lateral face. So once I substitute in my radius and my height, I get 314 centimeters squared. So now we put those two parts together to get our formula of the entire cylinder. So here I have my formula of my lateral face, or my rectangle. And here I have the area of my two circles. So my formula, that's really important, you should probably write it down, is kind of long, but it's 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So when I put the two pieces of the formula together, like I did, when I put them together to get 314 plus 147, we can see down here, I wrote my formula, I substituted, I solved, and I labeled. I didn't show all the work in this one, mainly because we just did that in the last two slides. We found that 314 and that 157. But in my next examples, I'm going to show step by step through this formula. Alrighty, let's go ahead and look at another example. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to write our formula. So my formula is area equals 2 pi RH, that's my rectangle, plus 2 pi r squared. That's my circle. So I wrote my formula. Next, I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to just keep writing pi mainly because it's quicker than writing decimals. Times my radius, which is 7, times my height, which is 14, plus 2 times pi, times my radius squared, which it would be 7 squared. Yes, you need to show that exponent. Now I am ready to start solving. So I'm starting with order of operations. Order of operations says I do exponents first. So area equals 2 pi times 7 times 14. None of those are exponents, so I haven't done them yet. Plus 2 pi. 7 squared is really 49. Order of operations says next I can do all my multiply. So 2 times pi times 7 times 14 is 615.44 plus my other multiplication, 2 times pi times 49 is going to give me 307.72. And actually, this is really surface area equals And lastly, I'm going to add those two numbers together to get 923.16 inches squared. And I labeled. It is an area problem, so it's inches squared. So again, we're looking for, did you show your formula? Did you substitute? Did you show all of your solving, not just jumping from the substitute to the answer? You need to show your solving. And did you label? A lot of writing for these cylinder problems, but in actual reality, guys, you've been substitute solve, substitute solve. Let's go ahead and you try this one. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the correct answer to your you try. Alrighty, so our final answer is 226.08 inches squared. I am looking for, did you formula? Did you substitute? Did you solve? And did you label? Those 4 steps are pretty important here. Now you can start to see as our math problems continue to get longer and longer, it's really important you organize your work. One thing that helped me was each step, each line, I did a different color. Some people like to underline the math that they're doing at that point in time. But again, sloppy work, you're going to get the wrong answers because the problems get longer and longer. You might get lucky, but at one point, your sloppy work is going to cause you to get the wrong answer. So let's go ahead and try another one. Be on the lookout for, are they giving you the radius or are they giving you the diameter? We'll pause the video while you work. And here is the answer to this you try. Okay, so our final answer here is 1,456.96 units squared. Because you're dealing with pi, and pi is a decimal, a lot of your answers will have decimals in that, and that's okay. Couple things to point out. First, they give us the diameter. The full length across the circle is the diameter, which is 16. So our radius, or our r in our formula, is 8. So you can see that I substituted in 8 to my formula, not 16. I boxed which parts of the math I was doing. Here you can see I did the exponent. In this step, you can see I did the multiplication. And then I only had one type of math left, which was adding. How'd you do? Did you show the formula? Did you substitute? Did you solve? And did you label? The label here, you might have been like, well, there's no label in the question. There's not. So you can call your label units squared. Whenever you don't know what your unit is, what they measured it in, you just call it units. Okay. We've got another you try. Go ahead and try this in your notebook. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the correct answer to your you try. Our final answer here is 376.8 feet squared. How are you doing? Did you show that formula? Did you substitute? Did you solve? And did you label your answer feet squared? Now we're going to look at a real life application, aka a story problem. A cylindrical coffee can, so a coffee can that's a cylinder, has a height of 14 centimeters and a radius of its base is 5 centimeters. What is the area? If you needed to, you could draw your cylinder there. Okay. But you really have everything you need in this story problem. You have a height of 14 and a radius of 5. Circle the word radius. So you start with your formula. Surface area equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. You substitute in your values. So our radius, it says here, is 5. and our height is 14. Plus 2 pi, and again our radius is 5 squared. And you solve exactly like we've been doing in the last couple examples. Go ahead and continue solving this problem. We'll pause the video while you work. And here's the correct answer to this one. So if you wanted to find the area of the entire cylinder, you would use the formula, 596.6 centimeters squared. But we need to make sure we read the question super closely. It says, what is the area of its label? Well, does a coffee can cover the whole thing with its label? No. When you're labeling a coffee can or a cylinder, same thing with soup cans. We're really only covering the lateral face, so the rectangle part. So do I need my 2 circles on top and bottom? No. So we're going to get rid of that part of the formula. So really our answer is only 439.6 centimeters squared. So it's important we make sure we read the full question before we find the surface area. All right, we're going to do some more practice with cylinders. Check out Google Classroom for more work.